Chapter 14. Welcome back, everyone. We are continuing the story of Jin Hyuk, whose favorite game turned into reality, and he is using his game knowledge to get super strong as soon as possible. If you haven't watched the previous part, the link is in the description. Before continuing, I would like to thank all of you who subscribed. I really appreciate it. It gives me a lot of motivation to keep posting regularly. Today's goal is 500 likes. You can also leave a comment below saying "Go Jin Hyuk," and I will pin the first comment. Let's continue the story. For a duration of 5 minutes from activation, the Minotaur's attack speed, power, and movement are increased by 30%. Intellect increases temporarily. It will be able to speak. Clench, clench. The muscles on its body were swelling up as its eyes turned red. It was now almost 3 times its original size. The axe, which had seemed so massive, now looked like a small gardening tool. Its appearance was quite hard to describe. How could you defeat this? Park Hana fell back as her legs lost strength. This man will not be able to handle it. There is no chance at all now. She knew. No matter how hard he tried, it was useless now. Jin Hyuk felt a tingling sensation on his skin. It was a strong magic force. Well, it was supposed to be a monster that would meet on the 5th floor or higher in the tower. Even if he tried his best, there was no way for a level 1 player to beat it. It would be impossible even if there were 100 players here, or even if dozens of people were there. Human. I will tear you apart and scatter your flesh at the labyrinth's entrance. I will ensure that people who have lost their minds like you will never invade my place again. The Minotaur growled. Clank! It stretched the axe in front of its body and released a tangible force of magic from within itself that encroached throughout the labyrinth. The soil and moisture in the air were slowly burning. But not bad. I feel like my magic management is better than before. Still, isn't it better to use land attributes than fire? In terms of efficiency, it looks better? Jin Hyuk was enjoying this pressure. No matter how powerful and fast the attack was, as long as it didn't hit him, he would be fine. And Jin Hyuk had the experience to make it possible. The dagger and axe collided, filling the air with sparks. Grrr! A groan escaped from the mouth of the Minotaur. It wasn't because it was being overpowered. If anything, it was the opposite. It was colliding head-on with a human who should have been swept away. The moment the human's dagger came into contact with its axe. Kaka! Its opponent shifted his center of gravity, letting the attack merely flow by. It was a level of technique that the Minotaur could not understand. This cannot be. Park Hana watched in shock. There had been no doubt in her mind that Jin Hyuk would lose. After all, he was up against a boss monster that had activated an LV-10 skill. Even all the Black Crow Guild members together wouldn't be able to stand in front of it. The first thought in her mind was to run away. She didn't want to die here after all. But Jin Hyuk wasn't being pushed back by the monster. Instead, he's pushing it back. Bang! Bang! It was a contradiction where the dagger's small blade was overpowering a massive piece of iron. It was a heart-pounding battle where nothing about it could be understood. Humans can move. Like that. Park Hana clenched her fist. Furthermore, he is smiling. A single mistake could cost his life. Yet, Jin Hyuk was smiling. And at that moment, Jin Hyuk grabbed the Minotaur by the horn and rotated his body. As he landed lightly on its head, the disappeared dagger reappeared in his hand. Crack! Just as suddenly as it appeared, it violently penetrated through the roof of the Minotaur's mouth. It couldn't move its mouth because of the dagger now stuck in it. 5 minutes are done. Jin Hyuk looked down at the Minotaur with a cold gaze. At the same time, the use time of the unique ability Berserker has expired. The Guardian of Labyrinth is in a suspended state for 24 hours. The Minotaur stood still. Rift status points, 57. A whopping 57. In terms of levels, that stat amount was enough to bridge a 19-level gap. There isn't much left until my goal of 100 points. The remaining time was 20 days. This should work out nicely. So, now all that was left. Jin Hyuk looked behind him. Park Hana was trembling there. Now that he had shown her what he could do, it seemed like she realized that even the entire Black Crow Guild would be of no use here. Jin Hyuk raised his finger at her. What are you doing? You won't come? Yes! Park Hana got up and rushed towards him. Ha! Ha! You called? From now on, I will be recruiting interns for the veteran company. Intern? You mustn't be very ambitious. Why? Don't want the job? If she said she wasn't interested, well, it would probably be difficult for her to see sunlight again. Jin Hyuk slightly raised his dagger and moved it in a curve around the air. I am interested. Please let me join. I have always wanted to join a company. Park Hana nodded vigorously until her hair got all messed up. Great. This was a good look. An enthusiastic applicant. Then, the question. Please tell us what you can do for the company in the future. Park Hana's face turned white at the question. You? Communion. Right. My unique ability is communion, which makes people get close to me. Even enemies can turn into allies. I will never betray you. Even if you didn't like it, this was how it would go. If he places a stigma on her, then she wouldn't be able to betray him even if she wanted to. Is that the end of it? Is there nothing more? Step. Jin Hyuk stepped forward, while stroking the dagger with his finger. No. That, wait. Give me some time to think. Jin Hyuk raised his dagger high in the air and… Bram's ring! Park Hana screamed. Jin Hyuk paused. Bram's ring was one of the best items you could get on the first floor. It granted increased movement speed, magic resistance, and the ability to suppress magic monsters. It was a highly valued item because it had 3 useful options attached. LV1 Eye of Truth has been activated. Park Hana's words are true. It didn't seem like she was playing any tricks here. Then, this was good. Congratulations. Jin Hyuk smiled broadly. You are accepted into the internship at the veteran company. Wow. Claps. At the sudden change in his attitude, her face became puzzled. Jin Hyuk cleared his voice and continued. Now, our company does not pay our interns. The living expenses are covered by a separate part-time job. Another most important thing. Anytime, anywhere. When I call, you should show up. Be it 3 a.m. in the morning or from Jeju Island. Make sure to understand that clearly. Jin Hyuk activated the new skill he had acquired from the fusion. His index finger was shining blue. That is the contract? Right. Did you think I would write on paper and stamp it? That only worked outside the tower, not in here. Didn't she know that? Jin Hyuk's style was something with a bit more certainty, engraving LV1 stigma of the soul on Park Hana. Time passed by quickly. It was a simple routine of raising his rift stat through battles with the Minotaur, followed by resting. It was a daily routine similar to running on a treadmill, but it didn't feel boring at all. Let's go out! Jin Hyuk finally signaled that their time here was almost over. Rift stat increased by 0.015 points. As soon as he dodged an attack, Jin Hyuk kicked back. Kwang! The Minotaur rotated 90 degrees. He didn't talk to the Minotaur anymore. The moment he got the stats, the bull got taken down. And finally, current rift stat, 100. 100 stat points. He had reached the point where the stat points hit the maximum limit. Gulp. It felt like something that had piled up inside him was soaring up. At the same time, I see light over there. The end of the labyrinth could be seen. They had finally arrived at the end of this long journey. You have cleared the labyrinth on the first floor for the first time. This event will be recorded in the Hall of Fame tomorrow. Player Kang Jin Hyuk and Park Hana will receive 5,000 coins each. The sunlight was blinding and the fresh air filled and refreshed their hearts. Phew. Jin Hyuk closed his eyes and savored the taste of the fresh air. We're alive. We made it. Park Hana's eyes welled up with tears. What a hellish month she had to suffer through. She was chased by a Minotaur all day and couldn't even sleep at night. She was also made to support Jin Hyuk with meals made of disgusting moss and mushrooms. But she survived. Right. She survived that hell. But her happiness was cut short as Jin Hyuk patted her on the shoulder. Coin. Key coin what? Park Hana slowly looked up. Is she pretending not to know? Well, it was an amount that no one would want to give up. With 5,000 coins, she would be able to outright purchase a D-grade item. Acting like you don't know? Or will you give it to me? Jin Hyuk spread out his palm. All of the profits in this contractual relationship needed to go into the hands of the CEO. I will give it to you. Park Hana handed over the coins with a gloomy face. Nice. This pushed the total number of coins in his possession over 10,000. Jin Hyuk's smile widened as he thought of the money. The benefit of initial reward is definitely worthwhile. At least at this point, no player had more coins than him. Get Bram's ring and bring it back within 3 days to me. That? 3 days is too short? Now you have 2 days. Open your mouth one more time, and you'd have 1 day. Any more words, and she'd need to go get it right now. I will try. Park Hana bowed her head. After separating from Park Hana, Jin Hyuk headed to the starting point. As he passed through the gate, he saw the familiar sight of Seoul. He wasn't quite used to it yet. There was a huge electric billboard that had been put up in front of the gate. Did you hear? In a week, the Dangun Guild is rumored to be Korea's representative to attack the third-floor boss monster. Oh, Dangun is the #1 guild in Korea. Yes. As expected, Europe and Japan had failed after the US, so expectations are being focused on Korea now. It would be great if we could also do it with the Chinese side, but they haven't responded yet. Right. It's because various interests are intertwined, so it is a fact that each nation moves for its own sake rather than cooperate. Now that this has happened, I think we should find a way to break through with our own strength, rather than expecting help from other nations. If it is the Dangun Guild, I think they can do it. News about the tower was being reported on the billboard. An attack attempt on the third-floor boss monster. The players had climbed a lot in just 1 month. Wow, already on the third-floor boss? As expected of humans. Wasn't a very well-accepted sentiment. The initial condition was just to reach the floor within 90 days. In other words, there had been no need to reach the second floor yet, let alone the third. But they are trying to take down the boss and reach the 4th floor. Because they covet the numerous resources that existed in the tower. Rather than leveling up and growing steadily, they chose to jump up. Seriously. If they don't have the skills, they will end up regretting it so much later. It was possible to climb up easily now, but the higher they went, the tighter the time limit would become. Their basics would be poor, but the difficulty would increase. The pressure of a 90-day time limit would continue to become stronger, and this wasn't a game where they could just re-challenge from the beginning. First, let's gather some information about what happened this past month. It was possible through the internet, but to get quality information where a multitude of them was being spread, well, it would cost a lot of time and effort. There was a better way. Jin Hyuk joined the Tower of Trials community forum. Numerous categories and articles filled the screen. It was a moderate cafe with a fair amount of traffic. Jin Hyuk took a seat at a table at the back of the cafe. Have 30 minutes passed since he started sipping on his cold chocolate latte? Clack! The door opened, and a man and woman entered. He could tell without even checking. Hello. A man with curly, permed hair, fair skin, and a bright smile. He looked quite cute, quite emotional too. In the game, his avatar had been that of a bald black man with an outfit made up of leopard print panties, bee tails, and butterfly wings. At the same time, the woman who had entered together introduced herself. Captain Timo. He had forgotten that fact for a moment. The crazier veterans act in the game, the more likely they are perfectly normal people in reality. I am Kang Jin Hyuk, 27 years old, and I used to be a BJ on Paprika TV. Oh, Hyung, you were a BJ? If it's Paprika TV, I sometimes watch it too. Taemin asked him with a smile. No matter how much they played together in the game, this was their first meeting in the real world. Yet this guy didn't seem to care about being cautious with strangers. Yes, but I've quit now. Hey, just relax, Hyung. It's not like we just played together 2 or 3 times for you to be ashamed. Right. Be comfortable. That did help him a little. Both of them were good people. Maybe because he had been around people who always backstabbed him, he ended up building walls, weighing the profits. A month of relentless feeling like a knife was held against his neck. He got so used to that feeling that kindness felt awkward. Companions. It had been a while since I thought of such a thing. Jin Hyuk smiled and nodded. Here, everyone who came, please take a numbered ticket and wait for your turn. The D09 test is up, so if you qualify, go to the test center. Inside the building was crowded with people wanting to take the test even though it was a weekday. Considering how many were deceived, it felt like the seductive promises worked fine. Please, please bring in a good rank. Even an E would do. If I can just get into one of the top 10 guilds, my life will flourish. Let me sign the contract with the association, please. I will be proud to have the civil service card around my neck. If you received a rank below F, you wouldn't get the chance to enter the second floor, let alone get recruited into a guild. Therefore, everyone earnestly prayed as if hoping to win a lottery. They prayed to stand out from the others. Of course. Jae-hyuk looked at them with cold eyes. People with this kind of mindset wouldn't even survive for a month in the tower. At best, it would become obvious that they would become losers on the floors that forced them to compromise with reality. Lee Taemin looked around. At the very least, there were dozens of reporters waiting for someone. They looked like anxious dogs waiting to pounce on meat. Right. It is odd. Yu Yunhua said in agreement. Usually only 4 or 5 reporters were here. Unless a large guild came, there would be no reason for this many reporters to come. Was there an unexpected event happening? The moment they thought that, they heard a commotion at the entrance as a group of people entered with a shout. Park Hana! It is Park Hana from the Black Crow Guild. Park Hana. How could she not be known? The rookie that set the media on fire through her appearance in the Hall of Fame. Wow. Is she Park Hana? The one who survived the labyrinth? Dope. I watched it on loop on YouTube, to see her in person. Next to her is Park Haejin. I heard he did a deal with the Chinese side not too long ago. Faces that were similar to each other. Besides these two, another person caught the people's attention. Oh my god, isn't that Kim Gitai from Fathers of Fighting Guild? Flash! The cameras began to flash all at once. One of the 7 largest guilds in the world, and the 2nd largest in Korea. Even a ranker from them was also here. Do not miss a single shot. A front shot, please. A picture with all 3. Kim Gi-tae lowered his sunglasses with an annoyed look. What is with the people? I am busy. All the dogs and cows seem to be getting tested here. It seems like more people are dreaming about making money. Why wouldn't people come to the tower in today's world when that is their chance to get a rise in their status? Park Haejin answered. Anyway, they are bugs which suck onto others. Don't they know there is no point in trying even for 100 days? If they had known, they would have never come. If they knew that the fountain that they wanted to live in would inevitably get crumpled. Anyway, it is a good day today. It is all because of you siblings who came all the way here, but if you make a mistake, you both know, right? Oh, of course. Don't worry at all. The siblings nodded their heads. This was a golden thread they had barely managed to catch. Whatever they had to use, they needed to hold onto it tightly. And the plan was perfect. Since we don't have time, let's clear the people in line. The reporters are waiting too. We cannot stay here for long. Park Haejin nodded at the guards next to him. Clear the path. Can't you see people passing by? Move to the left and right. Move. Move quickly if you don't want to get stamped on. The players of the Black Crow Guild scrambled to clear the line, and the path split open like Moses parted the Red Sea. There was no one to complain about it. 3 people were blocking the path without moving away. To be precise, 2 were trying to dissuade one person. Shh! You assholes, get out of here. Park Haejin came from behind the members. I don't know who you are, but you are making a huge mistake right now. It isn't too late, so shut it before we beat you up. Intimidation was so cruel. Is this the guy Park Hana was talking about? Name: Park Haejin. Gender: male. Age: 26. Strength: 16. Agility: 15. Stamina: 16. Magic: 12. Stat points: 0. Coins: 1,580. Occupation: none. Unique ability: lethal sneak attack. Skill: LV3, accelerate, LV2 stealth, LV2 shallow breath. He had already checked Park Haejin's status with the Eye of Truth. An assassination ability that had a strong chance of success, one-on-one. In particular, the shallow breath was also a covetable skill. It's a passive skill useful in prolonged battles. It was definitely helpful for this work. So, he liked it. Copy condition. If you increase the target's affinity to the maximum, you can copy the unique ability. If you increase the target's hostility to the maximum, you can copy one desired skill. To satisfy these conditions, raising his hostility wouldn't be difficult. Jin Hyuk smiled. On the other hand, Park Ha-jin's face became more distorted. He felt a sharp pain in finger. Quack! His body collapsed to the ground as he grabbed his finger and groaned in pain. Park Ha-jin's face became more distorted. This jerk, you are smiling in this situation? Shang. But when he drew his sword, Jin Hyuk moved half a beat faster. He held out the water bottle in his hand in front of him. Chak. He then sprayed the water from the bottle onto Park Ha-jin's face. What? Park Ha-jin closed his eyes. It was for less than a second, but even a brief moment could be crucial in battles. The sword that was drawn late only cut through the air. Of course, the expected spray of blood and scream of pain didn't come. He didn't feel any resistance. Something felt wrong, and the moment he realized it, throb. He felt a sharp pain in his thigh. His body collapsed to the ground as he grabbed his thigh and groaned in pain. Park Hana's voice sounded from the crowd. Having heard the commotion, she ran to the front. What kind of bastard? Park Hana glared at the person who had attacked her brother, but the moment her eyes registered who it was, tremble. Her entire body began to tremble. A person she had never wanted to meet again. A devil she didn't even dare look at was standing in front of her. Enough. He felt a heavy pressure on his shoulder. Kim Gi-tae. Eye of Truth has been activated. The skill activation has been cancelled because the level difference has exceeded a certain level. He couldn't see the man's status window with his eyes. Right, that meant he is well over level 20. The domination and monopoly of hunting grounds. This was the reason everyone wanted to join a large guild. Jin Hyuk looked at the hand on his shoulder and then mumbled, I didn't know. What didn't you know? That this guy would bring along a nanny. It was a provocative statement, but there was no change in Kim Gi-tae's expression. He is a hard worker, so it cannot be helped. There are some areas where this guy is useful in his own rights. A good one, then. Jin Hyuk smiled. Is it because you are providing a supply of Korean ginseng to China? What? Unlike before, these words made Kim Gi-tae's expression change. His eyes shook visibly. You should be asking if I can solve the Korean ginseng side effects problem. As soon as those words left Jin Hyuk's mouth. Woong. Kim Gi-tae activates LV3's blackout barrier. A black curtain began to open around them as Park Ha-jin, Park Hana, and everyone else around them vanished. In a world cut off from the outside, Kim Gi-tae looked at Jin Hyuk. Who are you? How do you know all of that? This guy had been interesting at first. A random person in the testing location had played around with Park Ha-jin. He had even admired his quick reflexes for a moment. But the words from Jin Hyuk had turned that interest into an uncomfortable and ominous curiosity. In the end, it turned to hostility. He had no choice but to feel as such. This man knew too many things. I think you are asking the wrong question again. Jin Hyuk shrugged. It doesn't matter what and how I came to know. You should have asked if I could exchange the information I knew for something. An exchange? Yes. Well, I will be telling you all about reducing the side effects after all. If what you say is true. Is there evidence for it? Anyone can say such things. Evidence? Of course. If you consume the Korean ginseng raw, symptoms of magic poisoning will occur. Of course, if you adjust the dosage using purified water from the second floor, the symptoms will be relieved. However, that isn't a fundamental solution. And what is? You will need a total of 3 items. Jin Hyuk raised 3 fingers. Extract of Corasian, Moonlight Stone, and the Mandragora root. The first 2 can be found on the 2nd and 3rd floors of the tower, but that doesn't matter. The problem is that you don't know where the Mandragora root is, don't you? That's right. The recipe book obtained by the research team and explorers under the Fighting Fathers Guild matched what this man said. Despite having obtained 2 items, they needed 1 more. The Mandragora root was difficult to find. They didn't even know which floor it was located in. If he already knows the recipe and materials, well, that has to be it. It meant that there would be a minimum requirement to make the transaction, and his worries wouldn't last long. Fine. I will let your words pass. But... At that moment, Kim Gitai pulled his sword out. The blade's movement was so quick that it couldn't even be compared with Park Ha-jin's clumsy attack. The tip of the sword stopped in front of Jin Hyuk's nose. If you plan to use some clumsy trick, then be prepared. Be prepared if it is a trick? Right. And you will not be able to get away this time. Right. Seriously. It seemed like he misunderstood something. Quack! Suddenly, Jin Hyuk pulled out his own dagger with his other hand. He then pulled it close to his own hand. Don't get me wrong. I made the suggestion, and I am the one who can give you a chance. With a roar, someone hit the floor. Did someone get hit by an ogre or what? The man's nose bridge completely collapsed. Must be painful. Jin Hyuk glanced in the direction that the man had flown off. He then looked at the person who did the hitting, a woman wearing sportswear. Move, if you all don't want to die. A player who made a name for herself as the nuclear fist of Bukwang District, Yu Yeonhwa. And after that, he saw Lee Taemin. Hyung, are you fine? If something happened in there, just tell us. I will throw them to the ground and trample on them. Mr. Kim Gitae, I am disappointed. I didn't think of you to act like this. What are you doing with the barrier? We just had a little conversation. There is nothing to worry about. For real? Right. He is a person who is better at talking than I thought, Jin Hyuk told them. If Appa says it, then... We understand. The two of them released the magic that they had been gripping tightly. Wait for me. I mean, are you going to send them like that? He had been humiliated, so he wanted a chance to get revenge. Yet why was everyone just suddenly walking away? Park Ha-jin couldn't understand it. It felt like he had to destroy the man who had humiliated him now to ensure no such opposition came up again. Leave him alone. There is no way someone like you can do anything. Kim Gitai drew the line. But? Nothing. I just want another chance. Chance. Right. A chance for you. A chance for your head to still be on your neck till now. The luck in not knowing that you would die to the monster due to your reckless action. If you speak shit again, realize that you will regret it. Keep that in mind. Those who want to partner with us needs to be strong. I understand. Park Ha-jin gritted his teeth. This was another incentive to fuel his desire to kill Jin Hyuk one day. At that moment, Tring. Condition has been met. You succeeded in copying the skill Shallow Breath, D. The copied skill is saved in memory of the world. Shallow Breath, passive. Acquisition difficulty. D. Description. You can control your breathing rate and sound. The limit varies depending on the skill level. It seemed that his hostility had reached the maximum, and all it took was being abandoned by the person he wanted to look good in front of. But that was his thing to deal with. Let's put this to good use. As he saw his newly acquired passive skill, Jin Hyuk smiled. Please hit the like button so more people can enjoy this awesome story and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Now let's get back to the story. After the chaos cleared up, the testing resumed. Of course, the number of applicants had decreased. The fight that had happened broke the spirits of some of the people. Many of them noticed the gap and even gave up taking the test. In the end, only those who wanted to take the test on a first-come, first-served basis was allowed. 1. Park Hana. Measurement, 1755 A rank. 2. Han Min-hee. Measurement, 989 B rank. 3. Oh Jon-hoon. Measurement, 845 B rank. Oh. Jin Hyuk looked at the numbers on the signboard and exclaimed softly. No matter what else happened, Park Hana still took first place. By an overwhelming margin, too. Did she eat some wild ginseng? Due to the nature of the test being conducted individually with an examiner in a room, he couldn't check. This looked like a joke. And after a bit of time... Next person, please come in. It was Jin Hyuk's turn. Tremble. When he opened the door, a fairly large room appeared in front of him with a big magic stone at the center. Next to it was the awakened association examiner holding a tablet PC. Hello. When the examiner saw Jin Hyuk, he trembled. It was probably because of what happened earlier. He could understand that reaction. totally understand. But he'd prefer if the guy would explain the test. What am I supposed to do? Ah. Yes. All you have to do is hit the magic stone in front of you. You can even use unique abilities. You can also use items. The essence is the size of the potential that appears when you hit the magic stone. In a word, it was simply, hit the stone as strong as you can. Simple. There was nothing difficult here. Jin Hyuk stood in front of the stone and pulled out his dagger. A dagger. Are you going to use the weapon without any unique abilities? Yes. This is enough. All right, you can start. As soon as the examiner finished speaking, Jin Hyuk took a stance while holding his dagger. Wung! When magic was infused into the dagger, its blade was dyed red again. I don't need to hold back the power. The rift stat has been activated to the maximum. Profound magic was transmitted through his fingers as Jin Hyuk smiled. Right. That was it. The law of strong for the strong. Sparks flew as the dagger's blade swept through the surface of the magic stone. This cannot be. The examiner's jaw trembled. A monster from the Tower of the Trials came. Since its appearance, many awakened people have come here. The magic stone had been cut in half and fell to the ground. Its cut surface glowed red. Speed, strength, and magic. This was proof that everything was perfect. First place Kang Jin Hyuk. Measurement 20,195. S rank. The birth of a new S rank. No, his actual rank would be higher as he had crossed the 10,000 point threshold. It was twice the required number for an S rank. A monster. S rank, congratulations. I will report to the higher-ups, so please wait a minute. The number, right. The examiner stuttered and pulled out his mobile phone. But then... Wait. Jin Hyuk grabbed the examiner's arm. Yes? Will you report this right now? Yes. Please postpone it for a week or so. Delay it? Why? The examiner tilted his head like he didn't understand. For personal reasons. After a week, I will not care whether you inform the association or spread it on the internet. Ha. But that isn't something I can do. Jin Hyuk stepped forward and flashed the dagger in his hand. The fist in front is scarier than the distant law. The test was over. The rank he got was F. Jin Hyuk showed the two of them the faint tattoo on his wrist. Hyung is F class? No. How? I thought you would be much higher than us. Did something go wrong? Lee Taemin and Yu Yeonhwa shouted at the same time. This was unacceptable for them, in particular, the two people who saw the skills of Jin Hyuk in the game. This is a temporary rank, and we decided to retake the test a week later. A bit of truth was hidden in the lie as he had no reason to show that he was S rank. If that is the case, then okay. Don't care about me. The two of you should continue climbing up. He would do so too, and they promised to meet again later. So, until then, he had to focus on his own growth. Shotgun first attack on ruins. Difficulty. SM description. Defeat the boss monster and reclaim the throne in the deepest part of the ruins. Reward. You will be given the option to choose one of the relics. However, if you cannot kill the boss monster, your selection of relics will be limited. Several status windows appeared in front of Jin Hyuk. Boss monster. Retake the throne, and the selection of relics. Things he already knew. Except... this. What is this? In front of Jin Hyuk, a menu appeared that was different from the others. A privilege for the first conqueror of Tower has arrived. Another status window appeared. The first privilege is opened. Passive ability, Monopolize, is activated. Monopolize. Description. If you take the final reward alone without sharing, you can get the best possible reward. Luck stat is permanently increased by +10. Adaptive stat increased by +10. Cold Heart is activated. Cold Heart. You will now be able to maintain your composure even in dire situations. However, emotions will be diluted. This! Jin Hyuk clenched his fists. Rays of light fell from the sky. This was a phenomenon that appeared when using space movement magic. Ugh, my head. No matter how often we do this, I cannot get used to this. How many people? All are safe. All 50 have arrived. Well, who do you think used the magic? more than 50 people appeared. Their backpacks were all filled with weapons and armor. This was the main raid team of the Balhae Guild, named after a kingdom that had risen after the fall of Goryeo. Is that man the captain? Jin Hyuk activated the Eye of Truth. Name: Song Cheonhua. Gender: male. Age: 20. Level: 14. Strength: 30. Agility: 18. Stamina: 19. Magic: 5. Stat points: 0. Coins: 3,950. Occupation: none. Unique ability: item weight reduction. Skills: LV3 Iron Shield, LV2 Phalanx, LV2 Tenacious. Will to Survive, LV1 Stoning. The unique abilities and skills weren't bad, but... Copy condition. During the period of the raid, gain the trust of Song Cheonhua. Jin Hyuk, who confirmed the copy conditions, soon lost interest in the man. Gaining hostility was easier. Trust wasn't something that could be gained in a short period, especially when everyone there wanted something important. But... Jin Hyuk narrowed his eyes at Song Cheonhua. A guy of the top 10 guilds is of this level. His stats and skills all seemed low. It meant the focus was on gaining experience points rather than actual battle experience. About an hour after the raid team entered, it was now the porter's turn. Name: Corridor of the Fallen. Type: Ruins. Difficulty: Unmeasurable. Description: a place where the original blood was sealed within. At the end of the ruins, the purest weapons and most grueling death coexist. A sour smell stung everyone's noses. Wake! The magic users in front summoned flame. The field of vision immediately brightened, showing the ruins' interior. Everyone, please follow me. You can't lose focus here. Nobody can be saved if they get careless. Oh God. That is huge. Is this the ruins? The appearance was reminiscent of ruins from the ancient Mayan civilization. Exterior walls covered with stones and moss stretched out in all directions. Step. As they went further along the path, various murmurs could be heard from ahead. Ah, here. This side. Cheonhua Hyung, the porters have come. As if there had already been a fierce battle, the path ahead was full of corpses of monsters. The undead monster types included ghouls and skeletons. At a glance, it looked like there had been over 100 of them. On the other hand, no player corpses were visible. It is strange. Even though there had been no high-level undead monsters, not even one player took damage after dealing with so many. With the power that the Ballet Guild had upon entry, it wouldn't be possible for the battle to conclude with no one taking damage. What are you doing? Captain Kim grabbed Jin Hyuk's shoulder. Why are you standing still? Please share the water and ice. It was a face that asked such a question naturally. Captain Kim then summoned 3 to 4 additional people to help Jin Hyuk. We will handle this side. Can you handle the foreigners? Captain Kim pointed to the players who had exotic looks. The raid group also included middle-rank guilds and solo players in addition to the Balhae Guild. It had to be one of those players. Jin Hyuk looked over at something. I remember seeing... That was a pattern that he had seen in the Tower of Trials in the past. The Zion Guild. As a guild based in Europe, the number of members was small, but he heard it was quite capable. The 4 of us go to the people there. Sure. Jin Hyuk filled a large mug with water and ice and headed to the Zion Guild's side. Water and ice were quickly distributed. There were only brief words of thanks and not much else. And then he got to the last person. Unlike the other guild members, who were quite tall, the last person had a noticeably more petite frame. Perhaps just a bit over 160 cm. It didn't seem like it was a man, maybe a woman. Jin Hyuk wasn't sure because their body was completely covered in armor and helmet. Here, have some water. A short exclamation. Clack! Their helmet was removed. The blonde hair, which had been curled up inside, was blown by the wind. Ugh! Oh, God! The porters were all shocked. Her face was so beautiful that they doubted whether she was real. Her white skin and blonde hair matched the armor she was wearing. It was a breathtaking sight. However, it wasn't just her appearance that surprised everyone. Typically, skills were accumulated through achievements. Other factors included the family's bloodline. She had 3 such pillars that supported her. Saintess of Amsterdam. Teresa de Laurentiis. He couldn't help but know who she was. She was one of the most well-known players in Europe. Jin Hyuk narrowed his eyes. She was the youngest daughter of the Laurentiis family, who held titles of nobility. At the same time, she was the hero who had saved Amsterdam after it was devastated by the outbreak. That was her true identity. Now he understood why the Balhae Guild had no wounded people. Because this woman has the best efficiency when fighting against the undead. An all-round player who could use divine power for both attack and defense, and possessed auxiliary healing skills. Immediately, he activated the Eye of Truth. However, the skill activation is cancelled due to the level difference. A red status window blocked his eyes. Shit, the level diff. He knew she wasn't in a guild yet, but she had already reached level 20, the moment he thought that. Luck and adaptive stats have neutralized the level difference. You can look through the target's status window. Shh. The red status window disappeared, and Teresa's personal information appeared. Right, I had that. His luck and adaptive stats helped him as soon as he needed it. At a crucial time as well. Name: Teresa de Laurentiis. Gender: female. Age: 22. Level: 29. Strength: 42. Agility: 31. Stamina: 25. Magic: 30. Stat points: 0. Coins: 10,850. Occupation: none. A job quest is currently in progress. Unique ability: Blessing of the Stars. Skills: LV5 Divine Power. Enhancement: LV5 Hidden Movement, LV4 Blessed Hands, LV4 Sign of Cross, LV4 Illusion Barrier. Copy condition: Teresa is ranked in the top 100 in the world. If you save her life, you can copy one of the skills and unique abilities of your choice. A terrific option. As expected, people should be enthusiastic. Jin Hyuk was happy. This was absolutely a luxury hotel buffet. Additionally, thanks to being able to read her status window, he was able to understand her motive for coming here. A job quest is currently in progress. I see. This was why she gave up on the boss on the higher floor and was stuck here. It was interesting. Maybe a useful one too. LV1 Communion has been activated. Subject has a slight affinity with you. A warm vibe. Teresa looked at Jin Hyuk and smiled brightly. Bluish-green eyes that reminded him of a deep whirlpool. Thanks. For water. She's thanking him? No. He was thankful to her. Blessing of the Stars. A unique ability considered the best for those who chose Paladin as their profession. He was given a chance to get such an ability. The problem: he needed to create a situation that put this woman in danger. He then had to save her life. Certainly, the conditions are not easy. Jin Hyuk wet his lips. And at that very moment, Chicheon Hua Hyung, come this way, right now. Followed by an urgent scream, everyone turned their eyes toward it. Unbelievable. When Song Cheon-hwa and the other players reached the scream's origin, the worst-case scenario had already happened. We are late. The healer, who was inspecting the 4 people who had fallen on the floor, shook his head. There were clear scars on the back of their heads. They must have been ambushed from behind and died soon after. But a much bigger problem than just their deaths had appeared. Woong. A black sphere floated ominously at the entrance to the ruins. Someone woke up the Guardian. Guardian of the ruins notices the trespassers. Time left, 09:59. A Guardian was a monster that guarded the ruins' entrance. They possessed power equal to bosses from upper-floor dungeons, but they had the characteristic of only waking up when touched or stimulated by a specific item. Hence their nickname, Sleeping Bomb. It was a bomb that wasn't dangerous when left alone. What kind of idiot touched it? What good will come from knowing that now? It has already woken. Right. It was already too late. Only 10 minutes left. If they didn't leave the ruins right now, the Guardian would fully wake. Hyung. I know. Song Cheon-hwa bit his lip. They couldn't fight the Guardian. That was suicide. At least half, no more than that, will die. It was clear that they needed to give up on this raid. It would be impossible to continue to the boss if they lost half their power here. But do we have to end it before even having a proper start? For an absurd reason, such as the Guardian waking up? That wouldn't even be the biggest problem. The main problem would be getting expelled from the guild for someone else's mistake. How much trouble did I have to go through to get the captain's position for this raid? Clench. He gritted his teeth. It cannot end like this. Never. Song Cheonhua gave the order as soon as he made up his mind. Let the Guardian wake up. We keep heading inside. At his decision to continue the raid and head inside, whispers rose from the other members. Hyung, are you being serious now? Think about it. No, I mean it. If we make a mistake, all of us here will die. The team of porters had come in, but 3 teams were still waiting outside. In addition, none of the guilds that were supposed to join the raid later hadn't even arrived. Continuing the raid now meant giving up more than 20% of their total power. Don't waste time and follow me. I will take responsibility for it. Song Cheonhua dismissed their objections. And, even if the others didn't come, with just Teresa, the odds are good for us. Right. That was the last card that he placed his belief in. Song Cheonhua glanced to the side. He glanced at the blonde woman. As far as dealing with undead monsters, Teresa could be rated as the best in the world. With this woman, it was possible. Truly possible. Please hit the like button so more people can enjoy this awesome story, and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Now let's get back to the story. It was only a few dozen minutes later that the news reached the porters. Isn't this different? The Guardian is up, and we cannot get out of the ruins. What nonsense is that? So, are you saying you will head in and raid it? Damn it. If I had known it would be this dangerous, I wouldn't have come in the first place. The porters voiced their concerns. A monster from the side, mid-level, too many. A player in the scouting group shouted, Prepare for battle. Song Cheonhua shouted his order. The response was slow, because it was a surprise attack that came when none of the raid groups had been ready for it. Thud, thud, thud. The grass around them swayed side to side, accompanied by the trembling of the earth. Here it comes. And it was fast too. Tanks, to the front! Hurry the porters to the back, do not disturb the others. Kwang. The enemy was Doulahans, which towered at around 2.5 meters in height, and there were 12 of them. Each of them wielded a mace and axe. Doulahan! A total of 13 types of monsters appeared at the entrance of the ruins. The Doulahan was the most difficult to deal with. With their overwhelming intimidation aura, they could drive anyone mad. They were a higher-level predator and fundamentally different from ghouls and skeletons. Not only did they have tough skin, but they also had a combination of speed and strength that made them difficult to deal with. Give auxiliary buffs to the tanks. Damage dealers, get your timing ready while collecting as much mana as possible. Song Cheonhua led the raid with his orders. Song Cheonhua activates LV3 Iron Shield. Go Yondeok activates LV2 Formation. Lee Yunmi activates LV2 Song of Warriors. Wong. Various skills and buffs were being stacked. And at that moment, Kwang! A Doulahan's mace made contact with a shield. Jin Hyuk observed the battle from a distance away in the rear. Certainly, the guild unit's resistance is strong. They weren't being pushed back at all against the Doulahan. The problem was controlling the actions of players who didn't belong to a guild. Most worked alone, so they weren't used to being in group battles. Eventually, victims began to appear. Crack! The eerie sound of bones breaking and flesh being cut. Quack! Healer! Where is the healer? Send some tanks to the front. I cannot hold them any longer. If this continues, we die. As expected. With just this kind of improvised power, there was no one here that could deal with the Doulahan. At least that was the reality for the solo players. However, despite their urgent pleas for help, Song Cheonhua didn't even look at them, causing victims to begin to appear. This was expected and even preferred. Song Cheonhua's lips were turning into a smile. In order to create a dramatic situation, the sacrifices of the beggars are essential. The solo players were about to be masquerade. Step. Step. Somebody's footsteps can be heard through all the commotion. LV4. The sign of the cross has been activated. A golden light started cutting through the Doulahans like a hot knife cut through the butter. Teresa was standing in front of the solo players holding her golden glowing sword. After saving the solo players, she headed to the rear where all the porters were supposed to be. It was chaos. Almost all the porters were killed. A guy was leaning against the wall. The Dullahan raised his axe in the air. He waited for the end to come quickly, but he couldn't feel any pain. It was weird. Obviously, the pain had to be there. Unable to hold her curiosity, he opened his eyes. An unbelievable sight was in front of her. Doo-doo-dood. The flames engulfed the Dullahan, and the disgusting smell of burning rotten flesh stung his nose. Kwah! The body of the Dullahan turned into a lump of coal and collapsed, while Jin Hyuk was standing calmly in front of him. This made it 4. You. How could you? A completely unexpected voice was heard from behind him. The owner of the voice was a saint in white armor. Teresa. Seeing as she was gasping for breath, it seemed like she had come to help those at the rear after tackling the Dullahans at the front. Jin Hyuk looked at Teresa with a surprised expression. The guild should be talking about them alone leaving here. He was surprised. He didn't think she was given the title of the saint for nothing. Can I talk with him for a moment? Teresa asked Kim Somi, who was still in shock. Yes. Yes, sure. Kim Somi nodded and jumped up from the ground as she disappeared behind a rock. As only the two were left, Teresa asked, You dealt with all the Dullahan in the rear? A question that was brimming with doubt. Right, she was bound to be doubtful. You are hiding your identity? Why? Everyone has their own personal reasons. Me too. Jin Hyuk didn't end the sentence there and added, You too. What do you… Teresa's eyes fluttered open. There was a slight tremor there that normal people wouldn't notice. Right. Normal people. Jin Hyuk smiled and continued. Actually, I didn't understand it in the beginning. Why did a ranker like you give up on fighting the boss monster and come here? It was hard for me to understand it. Attacking a higher floor in the tower guaranteed honors and rewards. Teresa abandoned that golden chance and chose this ruin raid instead. Reason? Was there more than one? Of course, it would be because the reward she could get here would be more significant than what she would get from defeating the third-floor boss. And Jin Hyuk knew that. Wasn't this the place chosen for your job quest? This time Teresa couldn't even hold her expression. It was as if someone punched her in the face. You really know everything. Finally, Teresa admitted the truth. Nice. Now he can move to the next step. Actually, I have a task to do at the Oath's location. Ah, of course, I am aiming for something other than that. And you want us to work together? I want us to work together. He drew a clear line. I completely know the location of the traps and how to move around them. Well, it doesn't matter if you want to move with the Zion Guild players as well. But no matter how lucky you are, everyone will die except for you. But that cannot be allowed, right? For a noble hero who was called the Saint. Teresa's action again met with strong opposition. It was because Song Cheon-hwa, the captain, was terrified and opposed to it. Absolutely not. Now we must be together and move ahead as one, not go around solo. It was Teresa who was the core of the group. But she wasn't going to simply back down. There is a map up to the 20-kilometer point into the ruins. Everyone knows the strategy. Nothing will change even if I don't come. From the time when the Tower of Trials was just a game until the present after it had become a reality. After countless attempts, players were able to create maps of the ruins. At the very least, from the entrance to the 20-kilometer point, a player would be able to proceed with caution and minimal risk. Above all, before the battle with the boss, the contract never said we had to unconditionally be under your authority, right? To that… As she said that, Song Cheon-hwa stuttered in his reply. It was because nothing she said was incorrect. And he sighed as he allowed her to act alone. Phew, fine. However, you need to be there when we reach the end of the map. Yes, I will join you by then. Teresa nodded her head. Ah, and… Can I take a porter with me for help? That… You can do what you want. Song Cheon-hwa roughly waved his hand as if he had no energy. It was a minor thing, so he gave her permission. The porters who met her gaze trembled, accompanying a ranker. It wasn't luck. It was instead a first-class ticket to hell. She is trying to take us to the most filthy place filled with danger, damn it. No one will come back. Please, please, I cannot. Oh, not make eye contact with her. She will convince us if we do. I have a wife and children who I need to feed back home. Everyone prayed in earnest. Please, I hope it isn't me. And then, Teresa pointed to one person among the porters. It was Jin Hyuk who was nominated, and he agreed to accompany her. I don't know what you are thinking. As someone who has lived close to 50 years, is this love? That's good. But it is nothing compared to your life. Right. Listen to Captain Kim. No matter how pretty the saint might look, sigh, youth is the problem. It makes them go crazy. The porters were trying to tell him to not go. It looked like they misunderstood something. Instead of dating and wasting time, he was the kind to simply focus on climbing up another floor in the tower. It isn't like Jin Hyuk, who was trying to refute them, couldn't find an opening. Actually, Miss Teresa and I have known each other since childhood. Set the genre. And see, a bit of childhood and mixed melody. The ruins contain items to heal Teresa's family in Europe. At first, I thought of going in alone, but I couldn't. Even if my skills are lacking and I lose my life, I will protect her till the end. Love, tragedy, and heroism. Through this combo, this trinity of tropes was even recognized at the box office and in classical works like Romeo and Juliet. The porters now looked at him blankly. It was as if they remembered something they had forgotten long ago. Kang Jin Hyuk, you're the man, damn it. You are a man from the Goguryeo era. Right. Go. Shouldn't a man protect his childhood friend? Youth is so nice. Everyone began to encourage him. With this, the chapter ends here. What's going to happen next? How Kang Jin Hyuk will steal Teresa's skill? To get the answers, please leave a like so we can reach the goal of 500 likes and press the subscribe button for the next part. I will be uploading the next part soon.